feel like somebody tooted.
Murphy's right under the table. Does it smell like burning garbage or does it smell like sulfur?
I'd say more of a burning garbage.
That's a Murphy
stench.
too.
Yeah.
Sasha's are sulfur, his are burning garbage. I hate that I know that. Hate it. But I do.
Hey, it's Sue.
And Megan, the Spine Breakers. And today we are going to do a May wrap-up. I almost said March wrap-up. Y'all, 2020.
2020, y'all.
2020.
Yep, and we're a little bit late with this. It's halfway through June already, but we're doing our best.
Doesn't even matter anymore.
Does time matter?
Time doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
And we're gonna split a Citradamus. What is IPA? Double IPA? Maybe it's a double IPA. Imperial IPA.
Imperial IPA.
Which I think is basically the same as a double.
I think it's yeah.
Yeah, so we're splitting it because it's 9.5% alcohol by volume, and we're not looking to get fucked up on a Sunday.
No. That's not how we roll, so we're gonna split it.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. That's tasty.
I like it, yeah. Melvin has pretty good beers. Did we even say the brewery? Melvin? They're from Wyoming?
It's good stuff.
Somewhere in Wyoming. Alpine,
Wyoming.
Yeah, and I've liked all their beers I've tried so far.
I feel like the thing with Imperial IPAs versus Imperial Stouts is that with Imperial IPAs, like I can't really tell that this is Imperial by drinking it. With
They
an
pretty much taste the same.
Yeah, but an Imperial Stout, I feel like
Tastes
you can
like booze.
totes tell. Yeah, it tastes like booze. So yeah, just a little, my little 2 cents there about Imperials.
All right, so let's get into the books we read in May. You go first, because I only read 2 books.
I think I read 4. I'm not like super sure because my Goodreads is not wholly reliable on like dates.
Yeah.
I am also an unreliable user of Goodreads because like I don't update things as I'm actively reading. I wait and do it afterwards. So like while I'm currently reading something, I may not mark it as current until like after I've already read it and then like do the whole thing. So that's my disclaimer. I also can't find these books because I read them at my boyfriend's house and I might have left them at my boyfriend's house. So
we're very prepared today.
I'm doing great, friends. So the first book that I finished was The Black Monday Murders Volume 2. I had read Volume 1 for Halloween-a-thon, and then I went ahead and ordered and read Volume 2. It's a really cool graphic novel. It is about a cult that worships the god Mammon, or the god of money. And so it discusses some events on Wall Street.
So it's just capitalism.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's totally just capitalism. So if you ever wonder, like, the underpinnings of capitalism, read this.
Yeah.
The artwork is really cool. I wish I had it. I would show you.
I'll put a picture.
But the artwork is nifty, and it is dark and creepy, which is my favorite kind of graphic novel. I like horror comics more than, like, traditional type comics.
Yeah.
So
I like horror and sci-fi.
Samesies. I tend to lean more toward horror graphic novels for some reason.
Yeah.
Even though I prefer sci-fi books.
So the next book, or the first book that I finished was To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. And this is her newest novella that is about this crew who is on this long-term space mission to visit, I think it was 3 different planets, and just kind of observe and
collect data.
Collect data about the planet. And while they're on their mission, they stop hearing anything from Earth. And they find out that some shit went down.
And then they gotta make some decisions about
They
that.
gotta make some decisions. And I really fucking loved this. I think this is actually my favorite thing I've read by Becky Chambers now. Yeah. I don't know what it is about it. I just really loved it. I don't even know what to say. Like, I I mean, I will say, like, it's a novella, so I don't think that the characters were as developed as in her other novels, but just something about the concept just really got me. It spoke to me.
Said something to you.
Yeah.
That was the next book that I finished in May, so I also really loved it. My only, like, beef about it really was that it was a novella, and so I wanted more of it. I loved it. I wish we could have had more information about everything, really. And then that ending, the ending was so, like, incredible, but
it's not satisfying ending, which I don't mind. Like, if a book ends on sort of an open-ended question, I don't mind that.
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And, like, in this particular instance, I think I was so invested in the story and I was so invested in the characters that I needed to know, like, tell me,
right?
You know. And so I think, like, that was really my only bitch about it, is that it was so fucking good that I wanted more of it. Like, I wanted it to be a full-length fucking novel.
I get that.
So that was really my only bitch.
Yeah. I didn't have a bitch about it. I gave it 5 stars.
I gave it 4 stars, just for what I, the reasons that I said, but I did adore it. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. Okay, so the next book I read was Sin Eater by Campisi. And I read that, I believe I read that in May again. I don't know. So if I've talked about it before, just know I'm not trying to be dishonest. I just don't know.
I'm pretty sure you haven't.
It was okay. Like, it sounded like a really interesting premise. So basically what it is that it's set back in the, like, 1600s, I believe. And they have this societal tradition of the sin eater, and so these women who are branded sin eaters, they can't speak to anyone, and they, except for during the ritual, and so they have certain foods that are assigned to certain sins. And when someone is dying, the sin eater comes, hears their confession, and then tells the family what foods to prepare. And then at the person's funeral, the sin eater comes, and all of the designated foods for the sins are laid out upon the coffin. The sin eater eats them. And then the sin eater takes those sins to her grave, and the dead person gets to go to heaven, sin-free.
Okay.
So that's their belief system. So this is about a woman who ends up orphaned, so she has to steal to survive. So she ends up going to jail. She gets caught. And then her sentence is that she becomes a sin eater. And so she kind of uncovers this plot to murder the queen, and she has to figure out what she's going to do about it, given the fact that she cannot speak to anyone, and she is very much ostracized by the society. I don't know, like, the premise was really fucking cool, I thought, but because it seemed very, like, female-centric dystopian to me, like Handmaid's Tale. But it really wasn't that. It was different than that, and maybe that was part of the reason for my disappointment with it, was because I had a preconceived idea.
Yeah.
I ended up giving it 3 stars because I thought there were parts of it that were definitely interesting, and there were parts I liked, but all in all, it just kind of fell flat of my expectations. So
yeah.
I read it in a day. It was a really quick read, but kind of, Yeah, I can't make the noise because my dog hates it.
Oh.
Sasha will get really offended if you make noise. Yeah, can't do it, so.
So the only other book that I finished in May was After Atlas by Emma Newman, which is the sequel to Planetfall, which I read last year. And Planetfall is about this mission to find God. This crew of a ship called Atlas goes to this planet where they think God resides. And in this book, it's set 40 years after Atlas. The main character of this book is basically an indentured servant. This is set in like a futuristic world, obviously. So he's basically an indentured servant, and his job is as like a detective. And he gets assigned to this very high-profile case that he has, like, personal connections to, so probably he shouldn't have been assigned to it, but because of, like, you know, corruption, the people in charge wanted him to do it. So most of the book is about him investigating this death, and most of the book I didn't give a fuck about. But this fucking series, because that was the same case with Planetfall, where I was like, I just felt like it was mediocre throughout most of the book, but then the end was so intriguing that I was like, I gotta read the second book and see where this goes. And this book was no different. It was, I would say this one got interesting a little bit sooner than the first one did. But I was a good, like, 2/3 of the way through this book, and I was struggling. That's part of why I read so few books this month, is because I was trying to get through this one, and I just did not want to pick it up because I didn't give any fucks.
Fair.
And, but I knew that the first one, and I wanted to know, I knew that the events of this book were going to somehow relate to Atlas. And so I was like, I have to know!
No! Have to know.
And so I struggled my way through it, and then about 2/3 of the way in, this book got fucking amazing. And it was so good at the end, just the end, that I'm like, I gotta read the fucking third book.
Shit.
And the third book's not even a continuation of this one. I think it's a prequel or something.
Oh,
and then
Jesus.
there's the fourth book that is a continuation of this one. And I'm like, God damn it. This
Fuck you,
fucking
Emma Newman.
series. Yeah, so it kind of pisses me off because I'm like, you know, 2/3 of this book kind of sucked. Because I feel like she waits until the end to
make it
like
good.
to make you care about the characters too.
It's like
Like,
maybe
I
do
don't-
that throughout.
Yeah. And so it's just frustrating, but I'm like, now I have to fucking know what happens.
Now you gotta keep reading.
So it pisses me off.
She
I think
hooked
I
ya.
gave this like 3.5 stars. Cause like, yeah, most of it was just kind of like mediocre, but then the end was like so fucking good. So fucking good. And I'm like, why do you do this to me, Emma Newman? So now I gotta pick up the third book, which is like Before Mars or something like that.
See, I own After Atlas, but I don't think I've read it yet.
I'm just like begrudgingly reading this series.
You're like,
at
fuck it,
this
I guess I
point.
have to do
I'm
it.
like, I gotta know what happens.
So the last book I read in May, which I'm not sure if I read this last or not, because I read most of it in April and I finished it in May, was Fellside by M.R. Carey. And I liked The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey, which is why I read Fellside. Fellside, though, was not great. So Fellside is about this woman who, she has amnesia. She doesn't remember really who she is or what happened or, you know, why. But she wakes up and she's being charged with a crime and she ends up going to this women's prison. And then some kind of supernatural things happen surrounding her. And I felt like there was maybe too much going on and it kind of got in the way of the story. It's a really long book, and I think that like they focused too much on the like lady prison narrative and the like political dynamics between the prisoners and the corruption among the staff, and like some of that played into the story, but M.R. Carey went way too into detail, I feel like, about those elements, when really I was like, tell me where the ghosts. You know, so I didn't really like, I didn't give a whole much of a shit until probably 2/3 of the way through the book.
A whole much of a shit.
A whole much of a shit. I've been living in the Ozarks for too long. Yeah, I didn't give a whole lot of cares. I don't even know how to say that. I didn't care that much about it until like 2/3 of the way through it, and then I was interested, but then it was kind of too late to salvage it for me, so I think I gave it 3 stars. It kind of pissed me off because it was like a really big time investment to just be okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a long book.
Alright, so that's all the books we read in May. And I'm not doing so great this month either. I have yet to finish a book, and it is, at the time of filming, June 14th.
I'm not doing great. I finished 1 physical book and I finished 1 audio book.
I'm a little over halfway through a book, so I hope I can finish that soon. I've kind of, the past couple of days, I've been reading a little more. I just was like, I was reading a lot of fan fiction again, because that's my, like, happy place,
Yeah.
you know?
Ain't nothing wrong with
So
that.
I've been reading. It's just not novels,
Not a
you
book.
know?
Yeah.
Yep. So, I feel like this beer goes to my head real fast.
Same.
Like, I'm feeling it.
Same.
And this
Hence
is half
the-
a beer.
Hence the didn't give whatever the fuck I said. I think because it doesn't taste like an imperial, so you're just drinking it like whatever, do, and then like you drink it fast, but it packs a punch.
Yeah. Which, I mean, 9.5, I don't know, I feel like it's really hitting me.
Yeah, same. Like I feel like it hits harder than a 9.5. Like,
yeah.
I feel
But
like
it is good. It's tasty.
It's very
It's
tasty.
a dangerous beer because it just tastes like a regular IPA.
Yeah,
I think,
it's
or
dangerous.
like a good IPA. It's
Yeah,
a good
it's a good
Citra
quality.
IPA.
It's not like super bitter. So
Yeah.
like if you don't like crazy bitter Christmas
Right.
tree tasting IPAs,
Yeah.
this definitely has a lot more like citrus notes to it. But
Right.
yeah, it goes to your head a little bit.
I do like the
faster.
can a lot too.
The can's pretty.
Citradamus, if I can get it close enough. But it is good. But watch yourself if you drink it.
Yeah.
Just drink one and then switch to something else.
Yeah, switch to something a little bit like softer. Like a nice shandy. Shandies are usually low ABV.
Yeah.
So.
And they're nice in the summertime.
And they're nice and crisp.
Alright, so if you've read any of these books, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching. Black Lives Matter and Abolish the Police.
Yep. And trans lives matter.
And Trans Lives Matter.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.